Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on the Space Coach today I'm going to be reviewing this. Too Much and Never Enough by Mary L. Trump. Where to start? I'd say the whole thing falls into that category of shocking, but not surprising at all. It details basically how her father was mistreated and his siblings, including Donald Trump, were also mistreated, the vying for the affection of their father, which was never even possible to really get any kind of paternal affection from. How he would play them against each other, how basically as a sociopath he would use them for his own ends, and if you're useful to him, great. This the moment you're not useful to him. And that's a lesson basically that Donald has learned as well. There's a lot of things that do stand out. There's one that really stands out at the very beginning, and it's that story about when he gets a bowl of mashed potatoes dumped on his head when he was 7 years old by her father. And that story is recounted at this family dinner in the White House in April 2017. And everyone in the family, apart from Donald, thinks that is hilarious. The fact that he still cannot let that go, that insult, is very telling on many levels. But she does say he wasn't always like this, how he is now. There was a spark in him of generosity and kindness, but because of basically his emotional development, or the lack of it, with his mother being very ill at a crucial age when he was about 2.5 years old, and his father not showing any affection, thinking all of those sorts of attributes of compassion and empathy, that they're not manly, that they're weak. So he was stunted for love, basically, and over time that became the dominating force, I suppose. But yeah, it just sounds like he gave her $100 to get her car out of the impound lot, or just things that he just did randomly from time to time. So yes, he did have that spark in him, but it seems like it has been crushed. And obviously his need for validation and needs the best, the most intelligent, the smartest, most successful, all that sort of stuff, this need for self-validation, demanding it from others as well. She goes into quite a lot of depths on many instances of that. There's one that's actually quite funny where her father, when he was still alive, he managed to arrange her 16th birthday party at, what's it called? The Grand Hyatt. It's one of the properties that they had in Manhattan, one of those hotels, I think the Hyatt. And 16th birthday party in one of the ballrooms, and her father had to really not force, because no one could force Fred Trump to do anything, had to really stand up to his father to allow that to actually take place, because he didn't think there was any point. And anyway, by this time, Donald's basically into the whole "I'm amazing, look at me, I need attention," all that sort of stuff. So she's at this party with some of her friends are there and all the stuff. And Donald comes and said, "Hey, isn't this great? This is totally amazing," and all this sort of stuff. You can imagine, you know what he's like. Anyway, then he leaves, and then her friends turn and say, "What the hell was that?" This guy just randomly comes in, spouting all of this self-aggrandizing stuff, and then is off. Yeah, lots of things like that. But obviously she does go into a lot of depth on her father's decline and his troubles with alcoholism, how that was all exacerbated by the lack of love from not just his father, but from the family generally. The grandmother, his mother, also not a very pleasant individual, also emotionally cold. Mary Trump was probably quite close to her at one point and stuff, and even said to her, although I think she said it just because she felt she had to say, she didn't mean it, she said, "You're my favourite person," to whatever her name was called, Gam they call her, and she said, "Well, I should be," and all this sort of stuff. And she was willing like that to cut them out of her will over money. The whole thing about trying to cut the grandkids out of the family inheritance by undervaluing the estate, saying it's worth $30 million, is worth close to $1 billion. All that sort of stuff. Yeah, cut them out, didn't think twice about it, because it's all about money. And you just know he would do you over if there was a penny in it for him. And he's done that many, many times. But yes, So the mashed potatoes incident stands out, the ballroom incident stands out, and the one at the end that really stands out, that is really very disturbing. Actually, I'll read it to you. You know that fascination, that morbid fascination he has with death. Shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and I'd get away with it. You know, he'd love to do that. And how he's always going on about death, but like I say, fascinated by it. Where is it? It was near the back. Just a moment. So yes, about Derek Chauvin's death. I can only imagine the envy with which Donald watched... Sorry, not Derek Chauvin's death, my apologies, George Floyd's death. I can only imagine the envy with which Donald watched Derek Chauvin's casual cruelty and monstrous indifference as he murdered George Floyd, hands in his pockets, his insouciant gaze aimed at the camera. I can only imagine that Donald wishes it had been his knee on Floyd's neck. That stands out. And this whole book has a ring of truth to it. And that particular incident, I don't want to believe it, but I do. In your gut, you know he'd do that if he thought he'd get away with it. So it is a fascinating read, a depressing one at times. The fact that I actually took some pleasure in the fact that his father came down with Alzheimer's, that reflects poorly on me. But this is what he does to all of us, you know. We're all sullied and dirtied and tarnished by this guy. He's going to be keeping psychologists and biographers and filmmakers and historians busy for 100 years at least, if we make it that far, as Mike pointed out to me yesterday. So yes, fascinating. Didn't take me long. It's only a couple of 100 pages. So I got this yesterday. I finished it first thing this morning. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Like I said, no surprises, but plenty of shocks. And it does paint a picture of Donald that is very believable. So we shall see what happens in November. Currently doesn't look too good for him. That it does seem like for once possibly things will catch up with him, because he's always gotten away with everything so far. But we shall see. Anyway, guys, that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think? Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment or suggestion for an upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.